Hi, Tamily. It's time for our 6th episode of Ask Tamily. And today, our guest is going to be Powerfully Healthy, also known as Lauren. So she should be joining in a moment. We do have questions planned for her, but of course, part of the benefit of watching live is you could type in some questions too, and we'll scroll through. And Lauren should be on in just a second. IG is just connecting us, and I see some people are already joining. It's awesome to be doing this on September 1st, the day after our new challenge. Hi, Lauren.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. I'm glad the connection seems to be working right now.
Yes, totally clear. It seems perfect. Hopefully Instagram can handle that for maybe almost an hour. So thank you for being our guest. We're very excited to hear from you today.
Well, thank you. I'm excited too.
And we've already got some people joining and waving to us. So we'll just dive right in with what is one of my favorite questions, and I think we've probably started every interview so far with it, but I know I want to know it from everyone. When and how did you start the Tracy Anderson method?
I was going to say, I knew what the question was going to be. I've seen it as the first one. Hi, Nicole. And, it's my Tamily friend.
Oh, yay!
Yay, how fun. So my journey with the method, I twirled baton nearly my whole life. Hey, buddy. How do you say your Tejo mama? Hi. I always feel silly like I'm going to pronounce their Instagram handles wrong.
Yeah.
But there's a way to pronounce Instagram handles. Hi, Nicole. Anyway, so I twirled baton my whole life, was national world champion level, and so I was, when I ended that time, I was always looking for something that made my body feel similarly to the way I did when I was twirling, and of course the Tracy Anderson method, which is geared toward dancers' bodies, or that type of exercise, always made me feel like I had felt my whole life. The ability to lift your arm and have your arm feel really light but strong. Just of course you've done the method, so you know how the results feel. And so that was what drew me to it. I started with metamorphosis, like so many, and then when I graduated with my doctorate degree from the University of Maryland, I decided that I was going to take a trip out to Maui. And it was back when the Vitality Weeks were first launched. They were called Detox Weeks back then. And they were, I want to say it was like 5, maybe even 7 days. It was long.
Oh, wow.
Well, yeah, so, and I'm from the Midwest, so long story short, as I booked the trip, and it was the middle of winter when I flew. It was like March, but of course a big snowstorm, so my flights were delayed. And by the time I actually got to Maui, like 3 flights later, it was, I want to say it was like 11:45 p.m. The Walmart in Hawaii was about to close, and I had a rental car lined up, but of course it was really late, and my luggage didn't arrive.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I know. So here I am, in my winter clothes and no clothes to work out in because I didn't really think it through and pack it in my carry-on. So I drove to Walmart, and they literally closed in 10 minutes by the time I got there. So I ran in Walmart, and I just grabbed like the first exercise outfit that I saw, and I wish I still had it today, but the shirt that I had, it was bright orange tank top, and it said, "You are," like the letter U and the letter R, "You are the swellest," and it had like this giant picture of a wave on it. It was just one of those, like, you can tell I like threw it together at Walmart the night before.
That is so funny.
I showed up the next day. Of course, I didn't have any clothes aside from that for the whole weekend. I had like not really exercise tennis shoes on. There's these big black clunky shoes. it was just not the, not the, I felt like I stood out from, your typical Tracy Anderson method traveler in Maui who has their leggings pre-prepared to match their tank tops. Yeah, and so, long story short is I met Tracy that day, of course. That was all in all my glory. And she was so compassionate. She said, Maria, because Maria Kelling was there and so was Stacy. Maria, take her to my room. Tracy had clothes planned to sell later that week. Okay. And so they basically outfitted me with everything that they were going to sell and just told me that I had to do a really good job modeling it so that their sales were going to be high. And so I got some free clothes and just had things to wear. It was just a really interesting trip. So that's how I met Tracy.
Yeah.
The method.
Intense.
Pretty fun, yeah. But eventually my luggage came, but it was like 3 days into the trip, and it was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
I know. It's funny, really, the whole thing.
Yeah, what a crazy trip. So, when you think about, I know you talked a little bit about why you like the Tracy Anderson method, but what made you choose it over other methods or fitness options?
So even today, for me, of course I like the fact that it makes me feel like I did when I twirled baton, but today I really like the method because it's very balanced. As you know, find balance. Balance is like the word that's thrown around a lot, but it's balanced because it is strength, it is stretching, it's flexibility, it gets your mind involved with it's like moving meditation, and to be able to accomplish that much with 1 hour and actually enjoy doing it, that's the other thing. The best exercise really is the one that you'll do, and so the fact that I will do this and it accomplishes so much in a short period of time and makes me feel good and it's fun and there's this incredible community. It really, for me, it's definitely a worthwhile investment. I know even when Tracy makes things more available financially to the public, that it can still seem like it's more expensive than your average fitness program. I mean, you don't have to necessarily get a gym, but even if you factor in wanting to get heat and humidity in your room or anything like that, it is an investment, but it's very worthwhile to me, and so that's why I do it.
Absolutely. How do you personally get and stay motivated to work out so regularly?
I think that for me, it's definitely been a journey. I am committed to consistency above everything else, mostly because I have tried so hard and failed so many times and keep coming back to realizing, it's not even about whether I do the masterclass 7 days a week or whether I, because I make goals for myself, like a lot of Tamily members do and people do, and I say, I want to work out 60 hours or 60 hours, 60 minutes a day, or whatever that goal might be, or I want to be consistent, or I'm going to do my challenge this month and never miss a day, or things like that. And if you only have 15 minutes, if life happens, just move. Do something that day to move. And I think that has taken a lot of the pressure off of me. And when you don't have pressure, it's amazing because suddenly you're able to do the things that you were pressuring yourself into doing before. So I think a lot of it is just letting go of the desire for consistency and perfection. And when you let go of some of that, it seems to naturally happen. Also, I will say, I work really, really hard to align the rest of my life so that I always have a space in my day to work out. I know there's so many different things that can pull you in so many different directions, and it really takes a regular editing time. My uncle just joined. So funny. He's not a Tracy Anderson method person at all, I don't think, but that's awesome. So I would just say, letting go of that pressure, and people will say, oh, you're consistent. I say, yeah, it took me a year and a half to figure out how to be consistent, and that sounds silly, really, just show up every day. It's so simple, but it took a year and a half because that year and a half was Nicole wondered who that was. Yeah, that's my uncle. It's not a creeper.
Right.
But it took a year and a half for me to say, okay, when do I want to work out? Morning, noon, night. Well, sometimes it's going to have to be different. Oh my gosh, my mom's here too. Oh, that's right, because they're camping, right? You guys
Oh my gosh.
This weekend for Labor Day. Hi, Mom. This is my friend Suzanne, and we're just doing a little fun interviews to get to know each other, everyone who does the Tracy Anderson method. So How funny. I wonder if my mom just heard they're camping. Okay, so this is a family affair. I should have known my whole family would join.
That is so fun. I think that's the first time that's happened.
We're close. We're a good family. So, what I was saying is just, it took me that long to really figure out how to have consistency in my life, because I would go and, trying to make that time every morning, and then just really carving out a lot of things and saying, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to do this, this isn't most important, this isn't most important, kind of having that that mentality of a minimalist, if you will, like, what is absolutely essential in my life? If it's not essential, then cross it off, and slowly doing that over a long period of time got my life to the point where the things that I was doing every day were, my dad's here too. Dad, hi everybody. Oh my god. This is
Wonderful.
typical. Totally typical. in a very good way. Yeah, it's fun. So, I think that's a good answer.
So, especially with today being the first day after our month with all the TAM newbies joining streaming, what's your advice to people that are new to the Tamily, especially because today is an important day for them, like if they're deciding that they're continuing or not? What would you want to say to the people that are new?
If it's definitely stay consistent and don't put yourself. It's great to have a program. I'm going to do intermediate every day, masterclass every day, or whatever you strive to do. But before putting your workout routine or your prescription, if you will, Tracy calls it a prescription for what workouts you'll do. Before putting that at the highest level, put your showing up every day at the highest level. Even if that means that all you have time for is to put your tennis shoes on and go for a 30-minute walk. Like, make sure you move every day in some way. And then as you continue that habit of showing up and moving every day, you can then start to say, okay, maybe now that I walked my dog last week, how could I have maybe made that something bigger? And then you'll be able to grow into your ultimate prescription for what you're doing all the time. But I think that just consistency and letting off some of the pressure of having to perform so perfectly. I think a lot of times you see on Instagram the people who really are showing up every day, videoing their workouts. I'm honestly interested to know, like, what percentage of all of the people who do Tracy's method are actually represented in those daily posts on Instagram.
Uh-huh.
My mom says I'm a good example.
My
mom is incredible. She has lost a lot of weight herself, and yeah, I'm really excited. I wish that I could, like, see my family, because I've been really busy with work lately.
Aww.
And I know they're all, like, watching. It's just funny. Fun to me.
It's very sweet.
Thank you, Scott, and Mom, and Dad, and Kathy, and whoever else is probably also. I can imagine this, probably, like, everybody at this camping trip sitting at a picnic table with beer, watching this interview right now.
That is so cool.
It's fun. So I think just moving every day. I miss you guys too. Happy Labor Day. They love our genuine smiles. Yeah, I know Tampa, Suzanne. We met actually at a Vitality Week in Florida. Uh-huh. So yeah,
a really long time ago. I feel like 3 years.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then I moved, and then we've stayed in touch here. But that's what I was saying, is that I think the people that you see represented on Instagram, I don't know if I had to guess 10%, 20%, if that's even and there's a lot of us here that post workouts on Instagram, but I think that's not your average everyone, and just to not have the pressure that it has to be perfect, and build consistency in, and then over time you'll develop into whatever workout plan you want. But moving every day is most important, even if it's not the method.
Well, and that kind of goes into the next question, which is for someone that's not new but they're not feeling motivated, what kind of advice would you give them? Because I think that's a great point. There's probably like 5 people in the Tamily that wake up every day and are like super excited and motivated to work out all the time. The rest of us, even very dedicated daily Tammers, still need motivation, like, to keep going. And you think, gosh, I've been doing this for this many years, it's supposed to just be easy, and it isn't. So, what's your advice for people in that scenario?
Yeah, that's very true because there are always days that are really really hard. It doesn't matter how long you've done it. It doesn't matter if you get to the point where, like Tracy will say, like it's incredible when you just crave your workout and you look for it. There's even on the yes, there are days that you crave it and you're excited about it in maybe an unusually high level compared to the average person just trying to work out. But there are always hard days, and I think it comes back to setting aside regular time to have quiet time to reflect on your life. How do you want to spend your time? We all have 24 hours a day. I know for me, it might sound extreme, but I really, really work hard to try to figure out what are my main priorities in life in general. I want to live a healthy life. I want to be excellent at the work I do in my job. I want to be present with the people that are with me physically every day. Whether that's I was about to show Reggie, but he's actually busy cleaning himself right now. Reggie, hi.
Hi, Reggie.
Okay, stop. He's licking. That's typical. Whether it's just Reggie, whether it's my family, Reggie. Yes, I'll show him when he's done doing his stuff later too. But trying to be really present, and then I want to cook my meals. I want to do things that I know are going to support me being my best. And then I have some aspirations to be a writer, so I am part of like a writing group. So I want to set aside time every day to like learn how to write better. And so I haven't really. If I would have a list of what do I really want to do with my life, there's probably about 5 or 6 things on that list, and then that's grouped kind of broadly, but and then I look at how am I spending my time. Is my time actually all lined up with that? When I said it was pretty extreme, like I've got the little app on my phone that's called Forest, and it'll like grow a tree when you're not using your phone, but it helps put that away, because I have a tendency to go to my phone excessive. I actually got an Apple Watch when I got a promotion, and I use it specifically to set alarms for the times of day when I will check my work email, and I've gotten it kind of down to a science that I have to check it 4 or 5 times a day at these times, and then not be in it all day, so things like that. So I would say getting down to the heart of what you want to live for, what do you want to do every day. If working out fits in there, make sure that what you're doing as far as exercise fits in too, because I know like this goes back to, do I have to do masterclass 7 days a week? Maybe if you're trying to really achieve mastery of the method and fitness and becoming your strongest, most balanced self, and that type of commitment is what you want. If it's really just to move every day and feel like you got your heart rate up and that's it, and that's really all that you can really resonate with when you have quiet time, then do something that will be to that level, but don't necessarily have to push yourself to an extreme level if it doesn't align with your heart. So that's what I would say, is just make sure you're doing things that really align with who you are, and if you're losing motivation, figure out who you are again and what you want to do with your time, and then it'll naturally fall in line.
That's some very, very good advice. It's just like you really need to get down to that. What exactly do you want? What are your priorities? And it makes me think about, some of the like things people will say who are not as dedicated to this method as a lot of us are. Is, like it'd be nice if I had time to work out like you guys do. And it's like, none of us have time. We all make this a priority. There's definitely other things that could be going on. It all really just matters, what is most important to you. And you have to think about that and reflect on it and kind of revisit it from time to time as well.
Yeah, definitely. Because you'll lose sight of it just in day to day if you don't continually revisit that. Yeah. Sometimes a rest day is needed when you're not even tired, just to regroup and rest, but really regroup your priorities and how you spend your time.
Yeah, exactly. So especially recently, we've had so many more resources available from Tracy. Even if you don't have the premium streaming, just in regular streaming with all the dance cardio and the bonus content. So we honestly, as long as we have an internet connection, can do Tracy from anywhere in the world. Do you have any particular tips for people doing the method while traveling?
I do. First of all, if it's going to be a short trip, make the day before and the day after, within reason. If you're going to get back really late and you need to sleep the next day, but make the time on either side of your trip really intentionally focused workouts. Like, so you should be tired when you leave for your trip because you've done. Somebody says my screen is frozen. It's not. It's not frozen for you, is it?
I can still hear you very clearly, but the screen is frozen.
Am I in a funny looking facial expression?
No, you look gorgeous.
Oh, good. Well, at least it's frozen that way. And if it wasn't, you just tell me that. Let me see if I can refresh.
Yeah, I'm not sure why, because
that doesn't refresh. That turns it around. Hold on, I'm turning myself back around.
Yeah, it's still frozen.
Okay, well, whoops.
The audio is perfect though, so
it's probably flipping back. See how maybe it will. Okay, well, if the audio is perfect,
yeah,
let's just keep going then, because that's okay. So, for traveling. So,
yes.
Okay, so for traveling, make sure that the workout that you do before you leave and when you get back is a very focused, intense workout. And then when you're gone, make sure you move. Sometimes your work schedule, as you know, if you're going on a work trip, sometimes they'll have you booked from 6 a.m. till 10 p.m. And sometimes sleep is more important. If sometimes it has to be. It's not. I think it's all about finding balance, and we talk a lot about finding balance in your body, finding balance, as the end result of this workout program. But you have to find balance in your life too. So I think that if that means that you can get up and you can do arms in the morning, you can do legs in the evening, great. If you can just do cardio one day, great. I know that there have been a lot of posts about how TSA actually does allow you to have your ankle weights and your full equipment in even in your carry-on, I think, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you know that you're going to be gone for a lengthy period of time, do that. Make sure if you're going to stay in a hotel, you can check the hotel gym. If I, know that I'm going to be in a particular hotel for a conference, I will call ahead and say, hey, do you guys have yoga mats? Could I maybe rent one out for the time? Because you can always work out in the gym, but I kind of like to do it in the hotel room if I can.
Yeah.
things like that, just thinking things through, being okay with a rest day if you have to have it while you're traveling, eating really well, learning how to navigate social situations and not let your diet get totally out of control. I think that's something I've been focusing on a lot more lately is balance in all of those areas of my life, because I know that when my nutrition is a little bit better, I don't have to work out quite so hard. Exercise is very important, but it's not the fast track to weight loss by itself. And for a lot of years, even twirling, I grew up in the I burned so many calories as an athlete that I could eat whatever I want, and ultimately over the 25 years of doing that, I had really bad habits where I just was for 20 some years just eat whatever I would want as much as I would want because I was always burning it off. Well, you stop the athletic activity and suddenly those calories start to become a problem over a few more years. Your metabolism only keeps up for so long or whatnot, and then you kind of really had. I personally had to really think through, how I was eating. So, but yeah, as far as travel, just plan it out as much as you can. And be okay with if you can't work out, watch your nutrition and work out really well before you leave and after you leave, and try to move in any way you can while you're there.
Absolutely. That's definitely great advice. I hadn't thought about the workout before and after, because that, it definitely can make you feel guilty if you wait and you don't have time to get stuff ready and you don't do the workout before you leave. So that would definitely really help. Why would you say your workout is important to you?
Well, for different reasons, but I think a big reason is because I work from my house. Like I said, I like to write. I don't spend my entire day sitting at a desk because I tried to get up, but for me it's important because I do have a lot of opportunities where I could be sedentary working. The arm sections are really important because I view them as a way to keep my posture in check. With sitting at a desk, typing, working, the arm sections are very important. I think in general the workouts are important because they are stress relief and they're meditation and they are stretching and they're they give me a time to really focus in on how I am feeling, and I try to really tune out. If you ever see any of my workout videos when I post them, a lot of times I'm just very focused. It might look like I'm not happy or anything like that, but I'm just kind of really in tune to my own body, and that's important for me to have some time every day to focus on how I'm feeling.
Absolutely. So what is your actual routine and how does your workout fit in your life?
So I try to always work out in the morning. That doesn't mean that I set my alarm for 5 a.m. and get up and do it before I leave for whatever. Some days it has to be that way. If I'm going out of town or whatever, I might have to plan it that way, setting out your workout clothes the night before. But in general, I get up, I walk my dog, I have a fair amount of quiet time. I'll journal, really just think through my day, plan through my schedule, and then I usually will eat something for breakfast because I'm hungry by that point from walking Reggie, and then I usually will check my work email and address anything urgent that has come up because that allows me then to go ahead and do my workout right away without having my mind on work. Like, I've addressed all my work emails, I get the hour workout in, and then I can shower and then really begin my true work day.
Cool.
So you're frozen now.
I was thinking maybe before we ask the other questions, I might take you out of the live stream and have you rejoin it, and maybe that will help us to refresh.
Yeah, let's see if it works.
Okay. There's always Instagram technology situations with these live interviews, but that's okay. So we're having Lauren rejoin. Should just take a second. Yeah, it's been great that the audio has stayed the whole time because we've certainly had that problem before, and even with the video cutting off, so we're in better shape than we've been in the past. Let's just put it that way. And it looks like it's connecting. There we go. So
yeah, that's sorry. I thought I was accepting something and I canceled what I had initially sent. So sorry.
That's okay. I think everything should be good now. I can see and hear you okay, so hopefully everyone else can. So let me see where we were on our questions. How would you define your philosophy about working out and exercise in general?
I think it's important to, you're kind of hearing the same themes over and over, but I guess I think it's really important to know your priority, to align everything that you do throughout a day with what you really feel is important in your own life, spending time to intentionally know what that, and then following through on it, not wasting time, but doing what is going to help support life lining up with your priority. And then as far as my philosophy on exercise, it's really just to try to grow every day, get stronger, get better at what you're doing, but having a balance where, if life gets busy, you're okay letting of that need for constant growth and constant striving to be an achiever. Tracy, an achiever many times, as she does so many who try to improve and regularly, but I think ultimately being an achiever, and then also finding that balance where if life happens and you just can't achieve at that moment, that it's okay and you're so worried about it. I think health, as you'll see page, there's an acronym. It's the letters LEAN. It's lifestyle, exercise, attitude, nutrition. I think those four things really work together to create your best health. And on the days where maybe you can't exercise, focus on your nutrition, and on the life happens, really focus on your attitude, because that makes a difference in your stress levels and all of that impacts your overall health and how you feel. So I think my philosophy is one that's pretty balanced, and I try to go with the flow as much as I can when life comes.
That's excellent advice. I love that acronym that you use, and that's really something that, when they're thinking about the balance that you're seeking through the method, you're going to get the fitness results and things like that through the actual workout, but it's really about a total look at your overall health and well-being.
Yeah.
Do you have a specific routine or kind of philosophy around rest days?
Yes, I never plan them. Unless, like I said, unless you're trying to plan a travel trip and you just know that it makes sense on one day to have that be a rest day. But I don't plan rest days. I usually will a scale back day if I'm really not feeling physically like I can show up and work out in the same with the same effort and with the same strength. Mm-hmm. But I think planning them is important because if you don't plan them, it seems like you only take them when you really need to taking one when you wouldn't absolutely need it. And then also, if I'm going to rest completely from the method, I always make sure that I move their way. Usually, it's taking Reggie for a long walk or something like that, and then trying to be pretty solid nutrition.
You're very good at that. You're a great example about the nutrition piece of it.
Well, thanks.
So one of my other favorite questions, and I don't know why, but I love it when I already know the answer to the question I'm going to ask. I just think it's fun. But the Tamily would like to know, where do you live and what do you do?
So I'm a Midwest girl. I really like winter and fall. I'm up in Indiana right now. I was born and raised in Michigan. I'm a nurse practitioner. I have my doctorate in nursing, and I actually work for the University of Texas, Arlington. I am an administrator at the university, and I teach in the doctorate programs. I've developed a few courses for the doctorate programs in nursing. And I guess as far as my title is Associate Chair for Clinical Education, right, I oversee pretty much everything related to a student's clinical experience in the graduate programs, whether the students are going to become nurse practitioners or DNPs, the doctorate in nursing practice, or nursing educators, whether it's making sure that the nurse practitioners that they work with don't have disciplinary action on their license, or helping the faculty ensure that their curriculum meets our accreditation standards. There's a lot of different things. Those are two. There's probably 20 or 30 different things I could list off that all kind of go into overseeing clinical education. But that's what I do, and I do it from home. I travel to Texas occasionally, but I've had a lot of jobs that have prepared me for this. There have been a lot of more difficult moments to get me to the beautiful place where I am today.
I always think it's so interesting to learn what people do in the Tamily because, we all relate to each other and do similar things around this workout, but then to hear what some of these people do for jobs, it's so cool. It's such a really impactful position that you have, and really cool thing to learn about. So thank you for sharing that. And I'd also like to ask, when you were little, what did you want to be when you grew up, and do you feel like what you're doing now satisfies that?
That's funny. Well, I'm trying to think if I really knew what I wanted to be when I grew up, when I was little. But I know that when I was in kindergarten or first grade, I took one of those aptitude tests that tells you what you're going to be. And I came home and my scores said that I should either be a comedian or a nanny. I'm neither. Not even close to either. In fact, my job is pretty serious. I like to be a writer. I've got all these fairly rigid things that I like to follow as far as my and how I spend my time. So I don't anywhere really near comedian. And as far as I don't know. I have Reggie, so
right.
I guess that's as close to that. But my job is very. in a place where my job allows me to have life outside of work because I like all the people I'm with, and it's a career. It's something that